Good morning.
Good morning, my friends. Today is indeed a good day. I can love you and be your friend, even if we think differently, believe differently, act differently, look different, or come from different places in life. You are welcome here. With that in mind, let's get our day started together. Let's slow down together each morning to contemplate valuable precepts and how we might apply these in our thoughts, words, and actions today, and how they might grow into practices, habits, and even ways of life, so that our life's example is rooted firmly in core values that are a benefit to ourselves and to all around us.
It is a sunny Sunday morning, and I'm glad to be looking at the treasure, the precept, the core value of gentleness. I was speaking with a friend recently. I shared some pictures of us from, almost 20 years ago, and of us just in our season of foolishness. And we had a lot of good friends. We had a lot of good times then. But her comment was just that. Man, we had a lot of good times, a lot of good friends. But aren't you glad that we've changed and we've found some wisdom? And we're no longer in some of that old foolishness that we did when we were young. And I just thought that was a great way to start my day this morning. But when we're looking at gentleness, and both of us were gentle with each other about the mistakes we've made in the past, right? And I would say that when we're talking about gentleness, we weren't attacking each other or tearing each other down or causing each other to be ashamed of our past. We saw it for what it was, and we saw its purpose in the long run. So gentleness is not a weakness. Gentleness is not cowering or isn't some kind of demure behavior where we just let everything go. We acknowledged with each other what was foolish and what was not right in our lives, but we did it in a loving way that was still truthful. It isn't that fearful tiptoeing on eggshells in order to avoid conflict. She wasn't avoiding mentioning that we used to live foolishly, right? In fact, it takes a confidence to show care for others and not just self-defend ourselves or pit us against them. That is powerful about gentleness. Gentleness is intentional, and it shows respect towards others. I would say that a lot of people that might seem powerful in how they act and seem confident are many times just manipulators and just people seeking to oppress over others. But gentleness can have a effect upon others because it is respectful. It is showing care for them. You don't have to lie, you don't have to hide things, but you can be gentle in your delivery and in your communication and in your relationship. Gentleness comes from that inner strength. My friend who shared that with me, she is a strong, powerful, confident, wonderful lady. She's always been a person of integrity and inner strength. And her gentleness with others is her power under control. You see, someone who is gentle, someone who is confident about their strengths, They can be gentle with those strengths. They don't have to appear strong in them. They can just be strong in them. They can remain humble and calm and strong even in the face of challenges. A gentle person doesn't have to wield power in order to prove their strength because they're already confident in their strength. Many times someone trying overtly and clearly to exercise their power and their strength, they know inside that they are weak in those areas and they're trying to overcompensate. Gentleness in our words is all about what we are pushing out into the world. Our words, just like our actions, can be a shelter and an encouragement, or they can be a raging fire that brings destruction. We can speak either way. If we're speaking truthfully, we can speak it in a way that either offers someone a hope and an encouragement and a shelter for where they are, or can be condemnation and can bring a raging fire upon them. So it matters. Gentleness matters in how we behave and how we speak. Gentleness can be that guardrail that keeps us from setting forests ablaze around us. We don't have to wreck other people's lives by butting our heads in where we haven't been asked for our opinion or our advice. Gentleness can also help us from retaliating or reacting or being too quickly offended. It can keep us from clicking send on that response that we wrote in reaction to something that offended us. Imagine how much better social media would be and email and text messages if people didn't just immediately send what every little thought and every reaction that came into their minds when they were offended. But they waited. They decided, no, I will choose gentleness. It can help us find a way to be constructive and life-giving instead. At its core, gentleness is about preferring healthy relationships rather than demonstrating our own strength or defending our own egos. I'm going to say that again. Gentleness is about preferring healthy relationships rather than demonstrating our own strength or defending our own egos. I have to remember that. Because when someone offends me, when someone does something against me, or against someone that I love, my first reaction is to demonstrate strength and defend egos or defend my people or my tribe. And that is not always the best reaction. It is not always best to just follow our first reaction. Gentleness also shouldn't be applied preferentially. It should be promoted freely and generously to all of our relationships. What about this one? We can be gentle with our enemies. We can be gentle with the bully and the harsh taskmaster and the stubborn people in our lives. In fact, they are probably the ones that need the example lived out in front of them of gentleness themselves, because that is what they are generally lacking in. If we just react and demonstrate what they are feeding to us, it will create a cycle that will snowball and snowball until there is an avalanche. This is how wars are created. But gentleness, breaking the cycle, demonstrating the value of gentleness, is demonstrating power. It is demonstrating strength. It is demonstrating an inner strength that doesn't just let our offense rule us, doesn't just let our first feeling or opinion drive our lives. We should also be gentle with ourselves, because we too at times will bully ourselves or others, and we can be stubborn, we can be harsh taskmasters. Choosing gentleness with ourselves is a first step in that right direction to heal the insecurities that are driving these negative behaviors. Think about that. It is the insecurity that drives those negative behaviors. It is the insecurity that drives people trying to be bullies and taskmasters and stubborn with others. So we must see gentleness for the strength that it is. We need to remember that we are not the problem and they are not the problem. The problem is the problem. What do I mean by that? We're meant to work together on the same team to solve a problem. When there's a relationship, we're not going to win a battle without losing the war if we pit ourselves against each other. Think about this. I and my wife, if we see each other as enemies, we have already lost in the marriage war. If I say, no, I'm going to have it my way, and she's not going to get her way, honestly, the war is being lost right there. You may win that battle and be able to say, yes, I was right then, but I guarantee you, you winning in that way means they lost. You never want to be in that position in relationships because the relationship loses every time. If someone tells me that I've hurt or offended them, I don't get to decide if I've hurt them or not. I don't respond to others' hurts and wounds in a relationship. And if I don't, guess what happens? They will lose trust and they will eventually lose interest in the relationship. Now, I'm not just talking about marriage. I'm talking about friendships, about business relationships. Gentleness is not pitting ourselves against others, even if they've pitted themselves against us. It's understanding that there is a problem. Sometimes we have to figure out what the problem really is. But if we are foolish enough to say the person is the problem, we are missing it. We are missing the opportunity for a healed relationship. Many times when people lash out, there's something going on in their life that is hurting them, and they are in turn lashing out and hurting others. If you want to stop the cycle, look for the problem and don't give the problem the name of a person. Don't make it an us and them thing. Take the time to be gentle with those that are hurting and that are lashing out, because at some point you will hurt and you will lash out. We need gentleness. It is a strength. It is an inner strength and confidence that is not just letting our offense and our reactions rule our lives. So you see, gentleness is not someone weak being walked all over. Gentleness is that confidence that looks to what is really happening. What is happening under the surface? That person who acts in a wrongful way towards you, or says something wrong to you, or bullies you, what is going on in their life? What has driven them to that point? It may be something that we have done to offend them, and they are retaliating. Do we want to drive the snowball to grow bigger and bigger, or do we want to heal the relationship? At the end of the day, you will decide what you prefer. Do you prefer healthy relationships that are healed, or do you prefer demonstrating your own strength and defending your own ego? If it is the latter, we have to admit to ourselves that is a weakness. That is not a strength. That is an insecurity driving those negative behaviors. these things I have to consider. I have to consider when I'm taking the time to be gentle with my daughter rather than just snapping with something quick and harsh. That doesn't mean that I avoid disciplining my daughter when it is appropriate and when it is going to help her avoid deeper trouble in her life. Gentleness is not a lack of accountability or discipline. It is seeking and preferring those healthy relationships. So I want more of this in my life. I want to be confidently gentle with those around me. This is the precept that I'm chewing on today, that I'm considering. This is the treasure that I want to grab a hold of and not just value in my words and in my thoughts, but live out in my life. And I'm sharing in case any of you might see this treasure as well. I love you, friends. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. We're about to gather up the house and head out and start our day. And if you ever want to talk about these, go deeper, let me know and reach out. And I'd love to spend some time together. Sometimes I have evening broadcasts where we go a little deeper into the topic, and you're welcome to join me there. That's usually on Twitch, not on LinkedIn. God bless, and have a wonderful day.